Good morning, Malaysia. Welcome to the Lim Ren En Life Success Stories series. This show is dedicated to improve the lives of people who want a positive change. I have the privilege to know many successful people throughout my career, and I have witnessed many amazing stories of successful business people who came from humble beginnings and made it in life. There is a formula of our success, and you too can be a successful person. My name is Lim Ren En. I'm a father of 4 beautiful children, an amateur bass guitarist, and a husband to a beautiful daughter. I am a senior insurance manager with AIA Berhad, a 11 times MDRT member, and also a 3 times Court of the Table member, currently serving as the country chair of MDRT Malaysia. I dedicated my life to helping medical doctors and SME business owners providing insurance protection for their families and businesses. A simple quote from the legendary George Devon: "When you see me, don't think of insurance. But when you think of insurance, see me." Good afternoon, Malaysia. Welcome to Lim Ren En Life Success Stories. Today we have a very interesting guest with us. Success story on Lim Ren En Life today brings you an accomplished man. He is the ex-director of operation of Intercontinental Hotel Group of China, Roland Steiner. Now, Roland was born in a remote farm in post-World War II Germany in 1951. Now, this man lived and worked in 5 continents, lived his life under the white apartheid of South Africa, a German who worked in Israel, and witnessed the rise of New China through the eyes of an expat during his 26 years living in China with IHG Hotel Group. Now, Roland is also an excellent chef who had the privilege to work with the great French chef Paul Bocuse, who is the Gordon Ramsay of the 70s and 80s. A man with great perspective and who had had experience in the upcoming China era and the best time in modern China. So let us welcome Roland Steiner. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Renan. Thank you for having me.
Now, it is such a privilege to have you, Roland, here today. You had a wonderful life. You have a, through the mouth of your wife, through your wife, you are legendary, in the way you lived your life. From the short introduction that we had just now, you have lived in 5 continents, worked in 5 continents, right?
Yeah.
Except Antarctica and Arctic, I think.
Yeah.
You've been to almost everywhere, right?
Yeah.
You've been almost everywhere.
Yeah.
And now you retired from Director's Operation of IHG Group, and you are residing now in KL.
Yeah.
With your lovely family.
Yeah.
Right? So I had the privilege to know Roland through Linda, who is the sister of my best friend, Victor Tay, and your brother-in-law, a wonderful man. So Roland, today we would like you to actually share with us your life, your experience, and basically advice to the younger generation how you live your life and how you have actually grown to be who you are today. Right. So Roland, tell us about your childhood in Germany. Now, how is it like living in a farm, in post-war Germany, just right after World War II? How was it living in a farm?
Well, yeah. Look, I come from a very small village in Germany, right? About between 80 and 103 people living there over the last 50 years since I'm gone. So life there is actually it was very nice. Yeah, I cannot complain. I had a very good childhood. I'm grown up in a farm. You're always out in the nature. Yes, there is time you have to work in summertime. You have to help, right? Whatever comes. But if you think about back, we had no machineries, right? Everything was done up to my 6th year only by horses. Everything was done by hand. Yeah, you cannot imagine today how it works anymore, right? But yeah, life was good. Yeah, it's interesting, and I had free time. After we bought the tractor, I could use the horse, so I every day horse riding, go to the forest, build our log houses there. So we had a good childhood there.
So you were saying that your farm, your father owns a farm, your parents owns a farm, and at that time it was a small farm, and the village is only 80 to 100 people, and that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
So you basically know everybody, and
Oh, for sure.
and every pet they have, and every
Yeah.
dog, and every horse, you name them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. But it was actually one reason why I decided already young, although life is nice, but this is not where I want to live.
That's why you chose a different life, right?
Yeah.
So now you witnessed the rise of Germany. Now tell us a bit of post-war Germany. During that time, Germany was defeated in the war. Now this is what historians told us. Germany was defeated through the war. It was hard, right, in Germany at that time. And
Yeah.
you were born right 6 years after they lost the war. And tell us, when you grew up, what did you see in post-war Germany? How was it?
But look, of course, if you look in Germany after the war, right, I mean, the big cities were all totally destroyed. There was basically nothing left, right? But I say, I come from a very small country, from a very small village, and around us even more other small villages. So this area not so affected by the war.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Everything is old. The infrastructure is not there, right? But I never remembered anything which is really related to war. Right?
Oh.
And of course, life got from year to year got better,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because the recovery, Germany went quite fast upwards again. So, yeah, I cannot say much about from the wartime. We always had enough food, right? In a farm, you have your own animals. Twice a year, they were slaughtering, right? Which was always great to be there, right? And see how a pig gets a sausage or a cow gets sausage, right? so yeah, we had a lot of fun there.
So what you say is that the war did not affect the countryside.
Not so much. Not so much.
It was the Munich, the Berlin,
big cities
that was
yeah.
really affected.
Yeah.
Now through the 60s, you were 12, 14, 15. Did you see the rise of Germany? Did you witness that?
Oh sure, right. I mean,
How was that? How was the picking up?
Well, look, the economy went just everywhere, right? I mean, there were not enough workers. Workers came in from Turkey, from Italy, from Yugoslavia, right? And Germany was rebuilt, right? And it was rebuilt in a very fast time,
Mm-hmm.
right? Especially 60s, 70s, 80s. I would say this is the time where Germany really came up again from, right, with new technology, with new things. So, yeah, it's about. I mean, the thing is, look, if you live there, you don't realize so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because it just happens one after one.
True.
Life getting better year by year.
Yep.
Right? So, if life getting worse year by year, you will realize much more.
Mm-hmm. So at the age of 14, you went to become an apprentice chef. Now, German school was mandatory how many years again?
Well, it was 8 years in Germany.
So it was mandatory school for 8 years. So at the age of 14, it is just you've just finished school. There's no
Yeah.
more. There's no progress, right? After that, at that time.
Well, look, the reason is why I was out with 14. The main reason was because in a small village there are not enough kids. So I'm born 51, and there were 4 kids born in the 50s. Then 51, there were only 1 girl. So my parents decided there that I should go 1 year earlier to school, join the year 50.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's why I'm finished with 14, where the rest is finished with 15.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So at the age of 14, you went and become what we call apprentice chef.
Yeah. Well, the life in Germany was then like this, right? You do your school, and then you have to go for apprenticeship.
Mm-hmm.
So then what is available for apprenticeship, right?
Mhm.
So I was also thinking of a butcher, electrician, or something like mechanic. And then my sister married
Mm-hmm.
an hotelier,
Mm-hmm.
and she said, "Why don't come become a chef?" So then I was thinking, yeah, that is good, maybe a good idea. So that's why I decided to become a chef.
And at that time, your parents are still around, or
Yeah.
they're still around,
Yeah.
right? When you're 14, and I understand from you is that you left home at 14
Yes.
to work in another town,
Yeah.
and that was a terribly young age to leave home and to work in another town, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. With 14, it is young. But what I said, it was always in my mind to move on. Right? I only know I don't want to necessarily live there for the rest of my life, right? So that's why it came quite easily for me to go.
So at a young tender age of 14, you have decided in your mind that you want to move out of that small town.
Yeah.
What is the name of the town that you're from?
Called Upflameur.
Can you say that again for the guests? Sorry, the Malaysian guests couldn't have
It's
comprehended.
called Upflameur,
Ouf Flameur.
which sounds very French,
Uh-huh.
right? And they were actually saying the name came from Napoleon. When Napoleon marched to Russia, there were a stop in a valley which called Flumen, and then they will say this is Upflameur, which means above Flumen. So that's where the name, what they say the name come from. If it's true, I don't know.
Okay, okay, that was a long time ago,
It is a
right?
long time ago.
That's a long time ago. Do you go back to your hometown frequently?
Yeah, usually I go once a year or twice, or once in 2 years.
Now, how many people are still living there?
It's still the same, right? There are maybe 5 new houses have been built, but it's not because people don't want to live there, because you can't get land to build. It's all kind of protected land, right? So they want to keep the land as it is.
Uh-huh. So basically, your family still have land, and the farm
Yeah.
is still there. Who is
Well,
running the farm now?
No, we don't have a farm anymore. The farm has been gone for a while. My brother still lives there,
Mm-hmm.
right? But he has given up the farm, and he has still the land which he leases out.
Mm.
Right? But he has done then other jobs for the government in the forests, etc.
That would be lovely, right, to visit your hometown if I would have the opportunity.
Oh yeah,
once.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a nice village, right? I mean, you are surrounded by forests and fields and all this. It's really a nice. It's very nice.
Right. So we're gonna switch you to over some of the presentation that we have now. So let's look at the first picture. Now, this is the story of Roland Steiner, and you can see from the background that is him with the. They are actors. They are not real communists.
Actually, this was my 60th birthday party in Beijing.
Okay.
Which my wife organized for me, right? And all the people which you see there, they're not soldiers, they are all my department heads actually, right? And
So-
to my right is the WW2 manager from the hotel.
All right. So to the political bureau of Malaysia, don't be alarmed. These are all fake soldiers. They are not communists. Okay. Right. Now, Roland, tell us about this. This is you post World War II serving in the German army.
Yeah.
That is what, national service?
Yeah, it's national service, right, which was compulsory. Right, everybody in the age of 18 has to be prepared to go to the army, right? And I just got 18 then.
And you are on a pipe.
Yeah, I even today I smoke only pipe or cigar. Right?
Yeah.
I never had a cigarette, right? I don't like cigarettes, right? But I started pipe smoking when I was 17.
All right, that was the young, and I can see a lot of resemblance of your son to the younger you. Your son is what, 20 now?
22, yeah.
22. Your son looks incredibly like you, you know. So now, then South Africa, all right. So you left Germany at a young age.
Yeah.
So tell us about South Africa. How did you end up going to South Africa at what age?
23.
So tell us about that.
So basically what happened is, I mean, I was working in the summer season in North Germany, and once in the newspaper we saw this ad from South Africa looking for young people who want to live in South Africa. And the deal was that South Africa was paying the airfare and they would accommodate you for 2 weeks, where they arrange interviews. It depends what occupation you have. Right? So basically, 4 friends of mine and I, we decided, okay, let's try to go to South Africa.
Now, you were at the age of 20 plus, young 20s, and you and 3 friends decided from Germany to migrate to South Africa. What makes you make that decision?
Well, look, the thing is, when we were working in the, first of all, there's a few reasons. The first reason is, when you work in the hotel industry at the time, to gain experience, you have to move around. Right? You should work in different countries. You should work in different cuisines to get experience, right? And what I said, I always, the reason why I became a chef was to see the world, right? First it was because I want to work on a ship and see the world, but this doesn't work out. So then this with South Africa came, and we applied for South Africa, and we got all accepted. We gave the date when we can travel, and then in January, I don't know, 74, 75, we all flew to South Africa.
So tell me, life in South Africa, that time it is still at the height of apartheid.
Yeah.
So for the audience out there, if you do not know what is apartheid, apartheid is a white-only policy, which is a very race-based policy in South Africa. So tell us about the life. How did you live? You know, you are a white immigrant, of course. What was your experience living under the apartheid of South Africa?
Well, look, when you go there, we not even thought about apartheid or something like this, right? But when you arrive in South Africa, and when you go out, you will see everywhere is white only, white only, white only, or non-black, non-black. So then you realize that something is different here, right? The buses, the trains, is where blacks cannot go. Yeah, that's where you really feel that there is a difference, right? And of course, people in the black people in the 90s would have to leave. I mean, I was in Johannesburg, right? Around Johannesburg, there are 2 cities. One is Soweto, one is Sun City, one Soweto and Alexandria, which is black only, right? And by in the night before 12 or something like this, the blacks usually would all have to leave Johannesburg, the city, and go home to their cities in the morning to come back.
So what you're saying is that blacks has a curfew.
Yes.
During the 70s.
Yes.
That they must leave Johannesburg and go back to Alexandria, which is blacks only.
Yeah.
So no white man will live in Alexandria.
They only could stay in the city when they have to work. Like
maids.
Like a maid, like a maid, like night chefs, like some people always security, they always have to work, right? But if you don't work, you have to leave.
Oh, so that was pretty tough, right?
Yeah, it's look at the thing is, we never had a problem with the black people. The black South African at the time, they hated the white South African very much. right? But we never had a problem, right? I mean, when we go around South Africa, we were sometimes camping next to the black villages there. We never had a problem, right? But if you are a real South African, yeah, then because they're a little bit more rough than we.
Yeah, but yes, of course. I think in a way, the race-based politics at the 70s, even in Australia, was still there. But I mean, just one question out of the blue. German used to be a white-only kind of during the World War under Nazis, right? But then it's changed after the war and all that.
The Nazis, right? It's a different race.
It's a different race. It's not German. It's a different race. Yeah.
Different race.
Then South Africa. But you left South Africa pretty soon after that, right?
Well, the deal was when we went down to South Africa. The deal was that after being there in South Africa for 2 years, you would surrender your passport, and you get a South African passport, right? Which some of the people did, our friends, but I decided not to do because I was then still young, 25 or something like this, and I would have been again had to go to the army for 2 years in South Africa.
So what you say is that you can get the South African citizenship, but you have to go through national service again.
Yeah, because you are come in this age group, right? And then you also have to go to the army again. Now, this was a time where in Botswana the Bush War started, right? And then I decided, well, maybe too young to die already. So then I left.
So then you left South Africa. But after South Africa, where do you went? Where do you go?
Well, I went then back to Germany and worked at Hilton. But only I was supposed to go to Hilton, Jerusalem, right? So until my papers already, I worked in Hilton in a city in Germany, and then I went to the Hilton Hotel in Jerusalem and worked there.
So you were working as a chef in Israel at 27, 28?
27 maybe, yeah.
Now tell me, that was post-war Germany, 20 years after that. And as a German to work in Israel, you must have a courage of steel to go to Israel and work. How was it? How was it for a German after the Holocaust and everything, and to work in Israel? How was it?
I think the worst was only when you arrive in Israel, right, at the airport, because I had done this mafia beard, right, and then I look like maybe like a Palestinian or whatever. So whenever I know it, right, whenever I go there, I right away singled out, and then they check everything, right. But okay, you do it a bit of fun, right? But working in Israel itself, yeah, it's okay. It's no problem. The thing is, my experience is, wherever I have worked, in all the countries, the people are always nice and good. The majority of people are nice, good, friendly, helpful. You have one or two or a bad moment, right? But otherwise, if you are not stupid, I think we had a good time there.
So in this picture, we can see that you are happily working as a chef. Where is this?
This is back in Germany.
Oh, this is back in Germany.
Yeah.
You're the guy with the mafia beard in the middle, right?
Yeah.
That's why you got singled out every time.
Yeah.
Now, tell us about this. You had the privilege to work with the great Paul Bocuse, who is the Gordon Ramsay of today in the 60s and 70s. Now, what was it like to work with the world's best chef?
Well, look, this at the time, in the 70s, this was the chef, the chef.
The chef.
The chef. I mean, his restaurant is in Lyon. I mean, it's 3-4 months fully booked in advance. People will come with their helicopters in. Right? And to go there, actually, I only could go there because my mentor, had a friend who knows Port Bocuse personally, and through this I could go there and work. So he brought me there. So I was there only sent for 6 months to learn and get his CV, get the things that I have been in Port Bocuse. Right? At the time, we don't get paid. I didn't get paid. Right? So just get accommodation and food. And working every day, the minimum is 14 hours. Minimum.
Okay, working under Paul Bocuse, the world's top chef at the time, the minimum working hours was
Minimum,
14 hours.
Minimum.
So there were no labor law or nothing. And you don't get paid for that.
No.
Why did you take the job?
Well, it's because the reputation Port Bocuse has, right? And of course, if anybody could say, look, I work for Port Bocuse, it helps you in your career, right? And I know there were people there. I mean, they worked there for 2 years for no money. Of course, they come from rich families at home. They have their own hotels or restaurants, and they just send there to gain experience, right? And I mean, the way how he cooked at the time, it is just amazing. You have the best ingredients, whatever. He only used the best. And if a guest would make any comment about the food, or I did once make a spinach with the things, and the guest said maybe a little bit salty. That was a huge complaint.
So
the chef, the executive chef then, Port Bocuse, he could be very rough.
So he is meticulous about quality.
Oh, there is any comment which is not positive on the food is a complaint.
So tell me about the guy, Paul Bocuse. This guy, he's been the #1 chef for a long time in the world. Tell us about a bit of him, your experience with Paul.
Well, look, we didn't deal personally with him, right? I mean, he is just around in the restaurant. He wouldn't be in the kitchen anymore, right?
Okay.
He has his team there. He's an executive chef, right? And he would basically be with the customers, right? Goes around, he would make the menu or the new creations, which they have worked out in a separate kitchen, and then it has to be perfect. And that's why you put lots of efforts in. Yeah? That's why you start early, 8 o'clock every morning until 4 in the afternoon, and then 6 o'clock until 1, 2. Right? Because after work, you still have to polish the pots and pans. You have to clean up the kitchen. It's all done by yourself. Right? So yeah, why going there? It's really because of the reputation, and to gain this experience, having worked with one of the top class chefs.
So it does build you, right, as
Yeah.
a top chef as
Oh, yeah,
well.
sure.
So now from there, then you move on to Asia.
No, I was then working in Germany with my mentor actually, and but I'm getting very fast bored, no?
Mm.
So I was then the executive chef for one of the biggest holiday inn at the time in Germany. And then I got itchy, and I told my boss, look, I want to move on. Actually, I want to go back to South Africa. Then he said, well, maybe look, why don't change your management? Right? So I thought, good idea. Yeah, and then he made me food and beverage manager, and that's where I started to go into management. So from there, I was sent to Nigeria. I worked in Lagos, right?
You were working around Africa, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You were working around. You were in Nigeria and Lagos.
Yeah. So Lagos is a tough place, right? Where you really cannot go out on your own in the night. You always have to go out in groups and all this, right? But that was tough, yeah.
Mm.
But also fun. Huh? I mean, the thing is, yeah, I say we still have fun. I always have fun when I work, right?
True.
And I believe, if you have fun working, everything goes easy, right? And people like to work with you.
So after a few years in Lagos, around Africa.
No, I've been only there for a couple, only a year, maybe less than a year. Then I come back to my boss, and I worked as food and beverage manager in Munich. And then I'm gonna get itchy.
You were looking for challenge.
Yeah, so and I found a new job, which was in Kenya. But I never went there because I met the vice president from Asia. He came to our hotel and stayed there, and I said, yes, I want to move on. I want to go to Kenya. And he said, forget it, come to Asia, no? So I said, okay. I sent him my CV, and 2 weeks later I got a job in Singapore.
So that makes you here. You're in Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
And you fall in love, right?
Yeah.
And look at that, you know, Roland and Linda.
I met my wife in Singapore.
Tell us the story.
Beautiful girl.
Of course. Of course she's a beautiful girl. Say something to your wife. You know?
Yeah, I met her. She was just working opposite our hotel in Scots Road. Right, and in the evening we always went there over to the Mövenpick to have our drink. And yeah, this is where we met.
That was a love story, right? It was love at first sight.
Yeah, you have to fight for it.
Okay. So Linda, you heard that? He did all the fighting for you. So basically from there you got married, you know, to Linda. Then you had a chance to move to Kuching.
Well, I went there from there. I was 3 years in Singapore, and then I was promoted to RM, resident manager in Kuching. So I went
my
to
hometown.
Yeah.
Kuching is my hometown, yes. Holiday in Kuching is still there.
Nice. So
Yes.
it was a very nice, relaxing place,
Mhm.
right? So I was there for, I think, 1 year, 9 months. And then I get the offer to go to China.
So, of all places of China, the one place that you chose to go, or they sent you to go, and you say yes to it, is Urumqi.
Yeah.
Now, in the 1990s, China was just starting, and Urumqi is like the ends of China, right? It's right at Xinjiang.
Yeah.
You know, whether they have proper toilets and all that, I don't think they have at that time.
No.
Now tell us, why did you take the job to Urumqi?
Well, again, 2 reasons. The first reason is everybody tells me don't go. Right? Because you will lose your job very fast. I mean, I went to this Urumqi and the hotel was not open, and I was ready to serve GM. And the second reason is promotion to GM. So this was my first GM position in
General
Urumqi.
manager. So you were the boss of Holiday Inn, no, of IHG or Holiday Inn?
At the time it was still Holiday Inn.
Holiday Inn.
IHG came later in, right?
Yes.
So, but anyway, going to Urumqi, which is really the wild, wild east, right? But surviving Urumqi, afterwards everything is easy.
So tell me about, how do you actually work, you know, as a expatriate, a white man in the 90s, early 90s, to work in Urumqi, bringing your young wife, your beautiful young wife, your young children. How was it? You know, from the previous conversation I heard from you that you have to work a certain way in China at that point to actually go by, right? So you, as a GM of Holiday, you get some special privilege in, the customs and all that.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, the working in China, it's especially at this time. I mean, for many people, they couldn't take it. I know many people just didn't make it. The owners just throw them out, right? Because they cannot adjust to the life, or it is not the way how it is back home, right? So, look, I feel if you move around in countries and you work work in different countries, you have to adapt to the custom, to the life where they are. If you cannot do it, you cannot move. I could work anywhere, I think, in the world. And we have no problem. But Urumqi at the time, yeah, it was really the Wild East. It was tough. From the owner side, also one part was very difficult. But all what's going on there in life, we have everything, from almost murder to fire to anything you can imagine. Fights every month, big ones. That was the Wild East.
So, but Urumqi gave you the golden key
Yeah.
to work in every other part of China, right?
Yeah. I would say Urumqi was a good learning.
It was a good learning. You were
good
a young
learning.
GM.
And the other thing is what I think what worked for me very, very well, I started to make my own reputation by being able to handle difficult situations or difficult projects.
So Urumqi gives you opportunity to make a name for yourself in the hotel industry. You became
It's the beginning.
the guy at the beginning. Yes, it's the
It's the
beginning.
beginning. But a few years later, people come ask for you. You don't apply. That's a good sign.
So you have hosted many people in your hotel throughout your life. So one of them is this guy. This is Li Keqiang.
Yeah.
Li Keqiang is the China vice premier, and he has gone to be the #2 man of China.
Yeah.
Tell me your experience shaking his hands.
Yeah, look, this was before the Olympics, right? So a lot of people coming at this time, right? I mean, it was the best time, right? And he was then not that powerful as he is now, right? But we have met quite a number of people, right? And of course, you just shake the hand and you have a few words with him, and then he moves on to his business, right?
Tell about this guy.
Yeah, that's
You had the privilege of shaking the hands of Yao Ming.
that's a big man.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the size.
That's a big man.
You know, I think you hardly reach his chest.
He cannot walk through the door, right?
Yeah,
The
you can see from
revolving
there.
door. He has to go down. He's, I think, 2 meters 36 or something like this.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
7 foot.
So you just
4 or
reach till
7 foot
here.
5. Yes. Was he a nice person?
Yeah, they're all fine. They're all nice.
Yeah.
Right? No matter what you have, people, they're all nice.
I have a picture of Yao Ming, but it was a selfie picture where I took in Shanghai. He so happened was at a hotel, and I took this way, without him looking, That was about it, That was fun.
Yeah, we were on the stage, right, with him.
Yeah.
The whole group. It goes like this.
Yao Ming is Yao Ming, right? Now, then, after so many years from South Africa, you have the privilege of meeting FW de Klerk,
Yeah.
who is the president of South Africa that abolished the apartheid system.
Yeah.
Now, how was your experience with him? You lived in the white apartheid before, and when you met him, how did you feel?
Well, look, de Klerk, of course, he is the man who ended apartheid, right? So his relationship is very, he did something great for the country, right? And then also, the day where he declared that South Africa is no longer apartheid, when he declared it, his wife was shot at home.
Oh my God! You mean when he declared abandoning of South apartheid in the parliament, his wife was shot at home that night?
It's the same time.
That is like a huge sacrifice
Yeah.
for the man who wants to do something right.
So he is obviously a very open man, right? Sees things differently, and does the right thing, right? And even if you sit down with him and talk to him. It's very fun, full of jokes. Right? It's a very nice man.
So I can see you at that point. Let me just go back there. So I can see you with that point, and he is actually quite elderly at that point, right? When you saw him in China.
Yeah, I think he's
So he was
already
visiting
in the mid-80s or early
in the mid-80s.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you have full of respect and admiration for this person.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's a great man.
He's the guy that ended apartheid and freed Mandela.
Yeah,
so,
he's a great man.
Yeah, so that is amazing story. So tell us about this. And you were shaking hands with Jacques Rogue.
Jacques Rocky.
Yeah.
Right, he is the IOC president. I mean, that was also before the Olympics. What I said, our hotel in Beijing is 500 meters to the bird's nest away, right?
Yes.
So all these Olympic committee members, a lot of them, I mean, they come and go, right? Before the Olympics, the Olympics starts, right?
So I was living in IHG once when I was in Beijing. Just living, opposite the bird nest. Yeah. It was a nice hotel.
It's not,
of course, it's a nice hotel.
It's cozy.
It's very nice.
It's a very cozy hotel.
Yeah, expensive.
No, not so expensive.
Then this is Marlene. You hosted Marlene. This is this is the table tennis world champion, Marlene.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, a lot of these people came during this time, no? Right?
True.
Invited by governments or by sports events, etc.
Now, tell us about this guy you met in your hotel. This is Ang Lee.
Well,
how was your encounter with him? Was he a nice person to talk to?
Yeah. I mean, he is a nice person, right? And I mean, look, you talk 5 minutes, 10 minutes, then it's gone, right? But what would I say? All these VIPs, no? I mean, they're nice people, right? And you just change a few words, right?
True. Now, so this is another guy, Van Verbruggen.
Hein Verbruggen.
Hein Verbruggen, sorry. I couldn't pronounce it properly. Hein Verbruggen. He's Belgium?
No, he is a Dutchman.
He's a Dutch.
He's a Dutchman.
The vice president of IOC.
Yeah, he is for the. His background and come for the bicycle.
Yeah.
Racing.
So you were saying is that throughout your life hosting all these VVIP and VVVIPs, presidents of nations and all that, what was your one, if you can just just summarize it in say one sentence, how would you describe these people who are very powerful at their time, and when you met them, how would you describe them?
All the top VIPs are nice. There is never any problem. But the second tier, or the people who are making the arrangements, right, because they want to excel, they want to show how good they are and taking care for them, right? These are the top of it.
So what you're saying, the VIPs are always nice.
Yeah, always nice.
Their entourage is the problem.
Yeah.
The secretaries are the
Yeah.
and their head of security are the problems.
These are.
Now, you witnessed the rise of modern China, as an expat. From your eyes, in the 1990s of Urumqi, right down to last year when you retired from IHG Group as Directors of Operations in Shanghai, can you give us a short explanation? How did you experience the rise of China, and how did you see it?
Well, very easy to say, right? When we came to China, when I came to China, we were always a king in a grape city. When I left China, we were grape in a king city.
So when you're saying, when in the beginning you were the king,
yeah, yeah,
in a what they call it, grape city.
In a grape city.
Yeah. Then
when I left, opposite.
It is opposite. Yeah.
I mean, look
Sure.
at when in Rimouchi, for example, right? We were the first international hotel. So you know anybody, you know the chief PSB man, you know the governor, you know,
Yeah.
you know from the airport, no? From the airport, the manager I know. Anything I have a problem, I just call the Mr. Wang. Was called Mr. Wang. And he said, don't worry, problem solved. Right? And the airport, right? When you go to the airport, two security guards come, take the luggage, check the passport, check in. We're sitting in the waiting room, 20 minus, freezing to death. Then finally they check in. They say, no, you wait. Right? And then afterwards, bring us to a car, drive us to the aircraft, right? So this kind of treatment you had, right?
When you were in Urumqi.
Yeah, at the beginning. Today, of course. This is gone.
True. How did you see when China's rise slowly, the 26 years you were in China, you saw them from being a third world country right now, so close of being a what do you call this, an advanced rich country. What was the changes in the human element in China?
Well, let's say that from the technology point, right? Because at the beginning, nothing there, right? But whatever they have done is the latest technology, right? Today they are far ahead to other countries in technology,
Yeah.
right? Far ahead.
Very far ahead.
Because everything is just always the latest and the best, right? From the people side, I love to work in China actually, right? Because the people are hardworking, eager to learn, hardly a problem, right? They're honest, right? So from this point of view, it's really, I enjoyed working in China. I think China was one of the best time I had. You know, I was 26 years in China, right? And I have worked in, I think, in 10 cities, right?
Yeah.
Around China, right? And it was, everywhere I go, it was good, right?
Now, of all countries that we have worked, lived, and experienced the best experience in your life, why did you choose to retire in Malaysia?
Well, look, what I said, I have my family here, right? We bought our home here a long time ago, which was always our base. And actually the plan was actually after I stopped working to retire here. It was always my plan, right? So Malaysia is a great country, right? It's good to live in, right? It's,
Peaceful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's reasonable, right? It's a great country.
You know, in one sentence, what advice can you give the younger you?
Well, one sentence maybe not enough, or maybe two or three.
Okay, it's okay. 2 or 3 is fine.
The thing is, look, the time is very tough, right? But I think we have to stay positive and look for new opportunities which are coming up. For the people who are working, who go to work, treat your work like your own business. If you treat your work as your own business, people will realize you take care. And if you are hiring people, hire only the best who take care for your business. Then your life will be.
So, one advice for the young people is that if you're working for people, take care of your work like your own business.
Like your own business.
You heard from the man. That is one great advice, you know, and that will bring you somewhere, right, in life.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you do your job right, if somebody sees you take care for them, why should you have something negative?
So my last question for you, Roland, will you live, if you get the chance to live your life again, go back to when you're 14, what changes will you make?
Well, I think I would put more efforts in my early education, right? Because I had to do everything during a time, right? Because my education at the time was nothing compared to today, right? But I believe with a better education I could have done more, right? So yeah, I would put more efforts in education. I would still look for a job I can move around and do, right? That's two things.
You will marry the same wife?
I would marry the same wife.
Of course. Linda, you heard it. He will marry the same wife again and again, okay? So, thank you so much, Roland, for coming to the show. It is such a privilege to have you. You have it, Roland Steiner, the retired director of operation of IHG Group, the man who have lived 5 continents and saw the modern day China rise from nothing to everything today. And it is such a privilege to have you, Roland.
Thank you,
Thank you for coming to the show. And I believe what you have shared with us today will actually inspire young people to take chances. Before the show, I did ask you one thing. What constitutes to your success, and what was it from your own mouth? What constitutes to your success?
Well, I always treat my work like my own business.
And you're saying something else is like you will never take no for an answer.
Yeah, I always do what people say don't do.
You hear from the man, he always do when people say don't do. Take chances in life and really appreciate the work they've been given to you and really do it well. Yeah. Thank you so much, Roland. I need to shake your hand again. Thank you so much for coming to the show. And this is the Lim Roland Live show, and today's guest is Roland Steiner, and thank you so much for coming to the show. Next week we'll have another good guest, a great person who will come to our show. This person makes healthy snacks. It's called Kapow Balls. So next week we'll have Lanessa Loh to come in to the show and talk to us about healthy nutrition snacks. So thanks, Roland, for coming in, and I'll see you again next week.
Okay.